Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for the follow-up. Have you watched it already of the 20 best signings this season? This is the 20 best loan signings this season. My rationale was apples and oranges, permanent signings and loan signings, very different things. So 2 different videos. So if you want to hear about a player that's a permanent signing, you need to go and watch the other video, which should be right close on your YouTube if you just click around a little bit. We're going to look at the loan signings, which takes a little bit of a different mindset to kind of analyse than the actual permanent signings are. What do we normally get in terms of loans into the Championship? We get players who are maybe not featuring at a club higher up, maybe a little bit older, and want to come down and get themselves going and maybe work back into the squads there. We get young players who are very good players who are not quite ready, obviously normally at a bigger club coming across. We get players coming in who are going to cover an emergency or something like that. We get clubs cutting costs. We get loans in between the same division. There's plenty of different types of loans, and quite prevalently now with the examples of Leeds and Fulham and Norwich over the past couple of seasons, we get loans where clubs higher up in the league who don't want to get that liability of a big transfer fee will do it with an obligation to buy on promotion. So there's all sorts of different types of loans. Here are my rules as ever. So only loan signings. We're going to look at season performance. We're going to look at impact on club. And we're going to look at value to all parties, i.e. the player, the loaning club, and the club taking the player in on loan. In a good loan, all 3 benefit. All 3 get value out of the deal. And of course, all 24 clubs are considered. So this video is not who is the best loan player at the club you support. So please do remember, give me the respect. I've looked through the entire list of all 24 clubs, every single loan, before you think about putting that angry comment because I didn't pick your favourite player from your club. Just think about the work that goes into this video and think about the lack of effort that comment takes, and just word it in a way that's a little bit less outraged than we normally get so-and-so is robbed. You're entitled to your opinion, but just remember the work that goes into these videos before you take 3 seconds thinking about a comment because you're angry because I missed your favourite player out. There we go. Right, shall we get into it? Ran over. Here's my number 20. Matt Clark, a Derby player. Obviously, Derby have had a not very good season, but it's the second season on loan at Derby for Matt Clark. Left-footed centre-half. Brighton, they seem to have a lot of good centre-halves. So he's played 41 games. I think good value for all parties. Obviously, impact on club. It wouldn't be fair of me to say that Matt Clark hasn't had an impact because Derby are low in the division. That may not be his fault. You could argue they might be even lower without him. But we'll see where he winds up. And you look at the age there, 24. He's kind of fitting an interesting category there because you would argue wants to find a home there. And Brighton with Webster and White and Dunk and Veltman. And they've got loads of good centre-backs, haven't they? So, we'll see what happens with Matt Clark next season. Number 19, Ched Evans. A very interesting one. A loan from Fleetwood in League One up to Preston. It's played 20 games and scored 5 goals. Value to all parties, maybe not so much to Fleetwood unless there was a reason financially or behind the scenes they needed to get him out. But Preston needed a striker, didn't they? And ultimately Alex Neil went. But I think, judging by the amount of games he's played, he's fulfilled a really important function at Preston there as just an experienced guy leading the line there. So we'll stick Ched Evans in at 19. 18, Admiral Muskway, 22, loaned from Leicester to Wycombe. Not played that many games, 16, 3 goals. However, in Wycombe's improvement towards the end of the season, Muskway, Ikpeazu up top, I think he's given good value to Wycombe. I think Championship clubs are going to want him next season. And I think Wycombe are probably going to want him as well next season, although they'll likely barring a miracle on Saturday, be playing in League One. So we'll stick Muskway in at 18. Number 17, this is a really interesting one. Conor Hourihane. Now, I thought at one point, if I was making this video, Conor Hourihane would be number 1. Because it looked like, when he came in January, he was the last piece of the jigsaw for Swansea. He was having a really good impact, scoring goals. Unfortunately, Swansea trended downwards, didn't they, after that? It is still a good impact. 18 starts, 5 goals, 2 assists. Actually, that's excellent. Maybe I should add him a couple of positions higher. I've just put him down lower in the list just because I think they wanted him to be the Mitrovic or the Tammy Abraham or the Rhian Brewster. That has a really big effect and pushes Swansea to promotion. Hey, he could still do the business in the playoffs. Look, he scored for Villa, didn't he, in the playoffs in 18-19. But let's just hold fire on Hourihane there. Number 16, Cameron Carter-Vickers. Seems to have been on loan to about 20 different Championship clubs. Age 23 at Spurs. Only 20 games in there. But we're talking about impact at Bournemouth. And we spoke about Ben Pearson in the other video. Spoiler alert for the transfer video. Carter-Vickers next to Cook did signal a good improvement at Bournemouth. I'd love to see him get a permanent club. I'm sure he's on a lovely old contract at Spurs and it's worth his while to see it out. But good player, definite upper Championship level player. Been around as well. I wonder where he ends up permanently. Number 15, another centre-back from the Premier League. Bit of a different story. Ben Gibson at Norwich, 28, went to Burnley for a load of money. So this is like a 15 million quid player. And this is that type of signing that you see at the top clubs where they'll take a Premier League player. You know, you're going to help us get promoted, basically. And maybe you can get yourself back into the Premier League with a team that might actually play you. I think there's an obligation to buy. So Ben Gibson will be at Norwich, we think, next season. 27 appearances, curtailed a little bit by injury. Again, like we said about Matt Clark, that left-footed English centre-half always at a premium. So we put Ben Gibson in there. 14, another centre-half, Leo Østigard. Obviously, when you compare the two, so different. Another Brighton centre-half as well, but coming in 21 years old, inexperienced. He's played 39 games for Coventry, 2 goals, 2 assists. Remember that huge goal at Rotherham for Coventry. It's been a really big part of it. I wonder, we've already talked about the Brighton central defensive roster, whether Coventry can get him full time. 21 years old, really good value for all parties. He's played so regularly. His value's obviously gone up. Will Coventry be able to go out and get him, or will we see him at another Championship club next season? Number 13, James Garner. He's a bit of an interesting one because he's been at 2 clubs on loan this season from Manchester United. He was at Watford for the first half of the season. Didn't work out for whatever reason. Ivic, maybe. Forest, much better in the second half of the season. And decent enough impact. Look, 39 appearances. I think reasonable enough value to Manchester United. I suppose his value has increased. I don't see him as being near Scott McTominay or Fred or whoever plays in the Manchester United central midfield. But I think next season this guy can carry a Championship game from deep central midfield. So I think there'll be people looking at him next season. Particularly Forest might be interested to get him back. Number 12, Sam McCallum, on loan from Norwich to Coventry. Look at that, 40 appearances. I dare say he would have had 42 if he'd been allowed to play against his parent club. This is a Championship loan. A goal and 2 assists. That's really good output as a wing-back in the Championship. Can play either side. I don't see him being in the Norwich team next season in the Premier League, so maybe Coventry can get him back next season. Remember, he was at Coventry, then sold to Norwich and then loaned back again for this season. So it does seem a good deal all round for everybody, and Norwich can maybe cash in on that extra value or be able to integrate what looks like a good young wing-back that can play either side into their squad in the future. Number 11, Karel Eiting, 23 years old from Ajax into Huddersfield. And this is a bit of a case, I guess, of don't know what you've got until it's gone. Aiting was looking really good towards Christmas. Look at that, 3 goals and 3 assists. It felt like they all came fairly quickly as well. Forgive me if I'm wrong about this. I didn't think we'd see him play for Huddersfield again because he got injured, didn't he? At the same time as Josh Koroma, and the form dropped off. 2 of the better players there. He's just coming back at the end of the season. Nice, innovative, going to Ajax, the sort of fabled, talent conveyor belt, basically. And I'm not sure. Do we see him back in the Championship again? I don't know. I think Huddersfield fans would probably like him. But yeah, he had a big impact, scoring goals from central midfield. And that's why he's at my number 11. Number 10, Mark Guay. He's loaned from Chelsea to Swansea for the second season. Swansea's defence is very good. Guay's only 20 years old. Big unit, good, strong defender. Decent enough with his feet, playing in a Swansea team that obviously had a very good defence. His second season functioning basically in the top 6 in the Championship at that age. I actually suspect this will be a guy that could miss out the Championship and never be permanently here and go to the Premier League. So good luck to Mark Gray. Good value to all parties. Impact, I mean, he was there last season, so just a steady line. And Swansea are going to finish slightly higher than they did last season, unless no, they can't. Can they get overtaken to 6th? I can't remember the maths. But Mark Gray, number 10. Number 9, Scott Malone. Another Championship to Championship loan. And, I mean, Derby struggling so badly, loaned a player back to Millwall. He'd been there previously in his career. And 40 games, 5 goals, 2 assists. Really good value for Millwall. And Millwall fans have been laughing and joking with me all season. Because his highlight reel this season is just stunning. He scored some absolutely brilliant goals. And I don't know, I guess financial reasons meant why he had to go out of Derby. But always frustrating when you see a team in one division loan a player to a team higher up. You think, well, why didn't they just play him himself if he's capable of functioning in that position? And look where you are. But excellent work by Scott Malone this season. I'm sure Millwall fans want him to sign full-time at the end of the season. Stefan Johansen, 30 years old. Bit of a Championship guru, this guy with Fulham. Came back down to West Brom on loan. Tends to be involved higher up in the Championship and not in the Premier League when Fulham have been there, and they have a couple of times since he's been at the club. 20 appearances for QPR, 3 goals, 2 assists. Big impact, though. Big impact. He and another player who may or may not be featuring later on in this list arrived at QPR in January, and honestly, it just went like that. Cause and effect, I don't know, but very safe pair of Championship hands, Steph Johansen at 30. Harry Wilson. Now, I was talking to some Cardiff fans yesterday because I did my season review. So has it been a success? Has it? Well, we think there was a quite substantial loan fee paid, but Harry Wilson is just a bit of a Championship go-to. And when you look at the numbers, 7 goals and 11 assists, he has had an impact, hasn't he? Obviously, Cardiff are not going to finish in the playoffs ultimately. And where Harry Wilson ends up, I don't know. Look, 24 years old, still at Liverpool. He's had a go at Bournemouth, didn't work out too much. Great for Hull, even better for Derby, good for Cardiff as well. Clearly a potentially high-end Championship player, but potentially a white elephant. You just wonder if Big Sam comes down with West Brom, you can see another year there at a top-end Championship club. I just don't know where he goes full-time, and does he get near the Liverpool team? So look, just a consistent Championship creative presence and good output. So Harry Wilson, number 7. And there he is, another Liverpool player, Harvey Elliott, only 18, of course. We thought, again, like I said about Hurahan earlier in the video, Elliott could have been number 1 at points in this season. Back in the autumn, it felt like Blackburn's entire game was flowing through him and he was putting up really good output. There was a bit of a tailing off, but then there was with Blackburn, period. I just think you need to look at this guy's age and look at the numbers. 17 goal involvements at the age of 18 in the second tier of English football. He's obviously at age group level an absolute star, and we suspect his future is in the Premier League. You wonder whether he might get a loan to a lower ranking Premier League team next season. I don't know. There was a feeling when Tammy Abraham did that and he went to Swansea that it was too early. Went back to Villa and then he was ready. Another season in Champions. So it's going to be an interesting one to see how Liverpool play this. But with my England hat on as well, hopefully we've got a future star here. And he needs to be managed carefully in terms of where he goes next season. But good numbers. Could have been more, we think, if Blackburn hadn't tailed off. But really exciting player. Number 5, Freddie Woodman, age 24, loaned from Newcastle to Swansea. Look, 44 appearances there. Value to all parties, massive. Look, he's been Swansea's keeper for, is it more than 2 years now? He's definitely there last season as well. Really outperforming his underlying metrics and his XG faced earlier in the season. Really consistent, decent with his feet. 24, just a really good goalkeeper, Woodman. Loads of clean sheets as well. Vitally important to Swansea. Could still be vitally important to Swansea. Who have they got? Newcastle, Dubravka and Darlow. So there may be potential for Swansea to get him. Although, when we talk about value to all parties, Woodman's value has gone up. So perhaps the only way they do get him, Swansea, is if they win the playoffs and they can drop a few million quid on a keeper when they go up to the Premier League. But excellent job again by Freddie Woodman this season. And there is that second QPR player. I've put him higher than Stefan Johansen, and this is all about impact. This is Charlie Austin, West Brom to QPR, 7 goals and an assist in 20 appearances, sub-appearances in that as well. We just know with Charlie Austin, look, he's 31 now. He's a QPR favourite. You just know he's going to get goals at Championship level. Yes, I understand he is on a whacking great wage at West Brom, and probably no other Championship club other than the parachute teams or QPR, because he's got the history there, could have done this deal. But they've done this deal and Austin has delivered the goods. And when we talk about impact on club, it was huge from Austin, just going in there, real charismatic figure there, real leader. And I don't think, and I know we can parlay Steph Johansen into this, I don't think QPR's rise happens in the same way without Austin arriving in January. Great loan signing. That one. And here's another great loan signing. You've got to love this one. Daryl Dike into Barnsley, 20 years old, strapping lad, a huge guy playing up front. American from Orlando City. Just sums up everything good about what Barnsley have done this season. And look at the goals record as well. 9 goals in 18 games at time of recording. Brilliant. Went into that front 3. And this is before the crazy win streak. And just, like I say, everything good about Barnsley. Creative recruitment, fishing in a pool that other people aren't fishing in now, but probably will be in the future. Perfect for their system in terms of the power and the ability to press off the front. And look at his goal scoring record. Great deal all round, and really pleased to have Daryl Dike in the Championship, however short-lived it may end up being. Number 2 is Kieran Hall. And look, this is all about impact on club, isn't it? So Dewsbury Hall is 22, in from Leicester, sort of central midfield player, classy player, isn't he? 38 games, 2 goals and 6 assists. And just key, I think, in Luton's climb from just escaping relegation up to the middle of the table and over 60 points as well. Classy player, and for where Luton might want to go in the future, they need players who set the kind of standard that he does around the place. Can they get him next season? I don't know if they can. I think he's going to be highly sought after, really, really decent player, and yeah, just a key influence in that Luton team. Now, why is Kieran Dewsbury Hall not number 1? Because Oliver Skipp is number 1. And guys, we've just got to go on the numbers here. 20 years old, loaned in to Norwich, nearly played every game in central midfield for a title-winning side. Look at the age. I do accept impact on club. Look, Norwich had Buendia, Aarons, Pookie and Krull, okay? So I do understand the argument that you could have put a fair few central midfielders on loan in at Norwich and the team probably still would have got promoted. However, Skipper's been really, really good. Classy player. Again, with my England hat on. Super, super consistent. I think Farke's a good manager to work with as well. Teaches players in the right way in terms of midfield rotation and moving that ball nicely and slickly. And I just think a 20-year-old who's gone there, played virtually every game in a hard league, in a hard position. Even though people like Dewsbury Hall and Dike, players like that, Woodman even, might have had more impact on their actual clubs. I just think it is what it is. And he's gone into a high-end, the highest-end championship team, the Champions, and been a real vital cog in it. So we've got to really make Ollie Skip number one. Apologies to fans who think Norwich have got credit for everything. But look, they've been the best team in the league this season. And we've got to go for Skip, having acknowledged all those other excellent loan signings. There we go. Look at that. That's the wrong slide. Obviously, we've copied that in, so we will leave that. What I could probably do is press another couple of buttons, and there's the correct slide. So look, there were the rules. Loan signings only. We're judging it on season performance, impact on the club, value to all parties. And remember, when you're commenting, I've done a load of research. I've considered all 24 clubs. When you get that little bit of triggered anger because I didn't pick your favourite player, just count to 10 before you write that outraged comment in YouTube. Go on, you can do it. But seriously, I do want to hear your ideas, particularly if you're able to articulate them in an un-outraged way in the comment that doesn't personally insult me or my family. But yeah, put in players that you think I could have included that I didn't, and let me know what your sort of top 5 and top 10 might have been. Were you doing the same exercise? Right, which way do I click now? There we go. Top 20 best loans. As I said, this is a video that is the kind of brother, sister to the top 20 signings of the season. So hopefully we've got both of these two up today, all being well. Get your comments in and let's make it lovely and positive. Some great loan signings in the Championship this season and full-time signings. Go and check them out on the other video. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And it's a big over and out from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.